So the first two methods in some way uh, disregard some information. And so that's why we have the reciprocal method. Because we have this connection from S1 to S2, as well as from S2 to S1. And so basically the initial cost, anytime that we use the initial cost to allocate, what we're doing is we're ignoring some of the inter-service department activities. So if you will work with me a little bit here, we're going to do a little bit of algebra. But basically, what we're dealing with is S1 cost to allocate, and we might call that X, is equal to its initial cost plus, well, what it receives from Service Department 2. So 15% of S2 cost to allocate. Now similarly, S2 cost to allocate, we might call that Y, would be its initial costs plus, in this case, 10%. So 10% of S1 cost to allocate. So if we use the second equation in the first one, we would have so basically X equals, well, S1's initial cost was 15,000 plus 15% of S2's cost to allocate, which is what we would have in that second line. So 15% of S2's cost to allocate, which would be S2's initial cost of 20,000 plus 10% of X. And so if we go ahead and distribute these terms, and it's always a bit of a gamble to do this with without our math going on here. So 15,000 plus 15% of 20,000, which would be 3,000, plus 15% of 10% of X, which would be 1.5% of X. Don't worry, I'm as amazed as you are that I got that. So X equals 18,000 plus 1.5% X. Now note that the term in front of the X here on the left-hand side is a 1, so we would have 1 minus 1.5%, or 98.5% X equals 18,000, or X would equal 18,000 divided by 0.985. So the cost to allocate for S would be 18,274 and change. Now, working through this, we would be able to get to this same point if we took the amount that we see here, so the 15,000 plus the 15% of the 20,000, and then divided by the 1 minus the cross product here. And if we are fortunate, we'll see the same amount. And so this would be the approach that you would want to take here in this formula.